If you're new to making content, you probably have had issues with speaking. You probably have wondered, how can I become a better speaker? You've probably had, you've probably cringed when you're listening to your own voice. You've probably listened to it and thought, should I even make videos? You're getting all these thoughts. And let me tell you right now, all those thoughts are not true, because you can change and improve your voice. See, a good year or two ago, I did not have that much experience in content creation, and I also did not try very hard to improve my voice. When I started out, it was such a timid sounding voice, kind of monotone, and it was not very engaging sounding. Now you might notice now my voice has good modulation. I change the pitch, and that is a natural thing that good speakers do. It keeps your attention. A lot of YouTubers think that they got to speak in a specific pattern. No, you need your own pattern of modulation, your own pattern of speech. You might notice a lot of YouTubers. And today we're going to talk about exactly how it's stupid. Don't speak like that. Use your own modulation. Don't copy mine. Well, you could if you're trying to learn it at first, but we're going to talk about this. So first things first, where's your voice at right now? You need to listen to your voice, and you need to record it a lot. You need to create a bunch of content. You need to record this content. You need to go through the process of hearing your voice in its state right now. And then, like a football player or like a basketball player, you're going to watch this back. You're going to take notes on all the different techniques, all the different things you did, all the different mistakes that you made. You're going to write this all down. And this is going to give you the things that you need to improve on. See, improving your speech is just like being a professional athlete. They watch their performance and they go out there and they see, okay, I passed the ball and I messed it up, wrong angle there, all these little tweaks. And when you do this for your speech, it's exactly the same thing. It is exactly the same thing, because you listen to it, you refine it, and you implement the changes. So when you do this, you can start improving rapidly. Just make tons of content here and review it, find the mistakes, and then improve and practice. Now, the next thing, after you have, studied your own speech, made a bunch of content, now you can study good speakers. So go and watch good speakers. Find the best speakers you can, people who you watch who are very good at speaking, and try to see what they're doing to be so engaging and to be such a good speaker. And then you want to implement the techniques that they're using. You want to model their speech in a sense. And you can be kind of copying for a while the way that they speak, but you want to implement their techniques. And this might be a lot of copying, but all you're doing is modeling the way that they speak, and then you're allowing yourself to implement things from that and modify your speech lightly to be more like theirs. And you can revert back to your own version of speech, but it's going to be a bit of a mix. So when we watch content, when we watch good speakers, you can implement their techniques. Now, after you watch good speakers and after you are trying to implement their techniques and learn what they do to be so good, let's look at the way that your speaking works. So I'm in a speech class right now in school, right? So it actually gives us some very useful things. So this is a diagram right here, and you can see that there is a bunch of different parts of your body that make up speech, and a large part of this is actually breathing. When you breathe a full breath, that needs to go into your stomach and to your lower lungs, which is at the bottom of your lungs, right below your rib cage. And most people, they breathe so shallow. They don't really breathe fully. The first step is just to breathe better. Allow yourself to breathe all the way down into your diaphragm and all the way in your lower lungs. Breathe for a few seconds and then breathe out. You can also alternate between using your mouth and using your nose. Now, I know that wasn't the greatest breath, but I'm sitting. It would be better if I was standing. Now, once you do this, you improve your breathing, you ensure you have enough breath when you speak. You now have a much better, you have power in your voice. You can project, you can speak loudly, you can have some presence in your voice. Now, once we improve our breathing, we now can look at the other aspects of speech. This includes your modulation, which is the rise and the fall of tone as you speak. When we speak, if you're monotone, right? Monotone is speaking in one tone. If you're speaking in one tone, you're going to be so boring that anybody who hears you is just going to be like, their brain is just going to tune you out. We don't live in a time where you can just speak boring and have people listen unless you have something very good to say. So we need to practice having a variable modulation. We want to speak in a way where the tone goes up and down, up and down. And you want to vary this as you're making points. Again, don't do the YouTuber modulation technique that they say that a lot of people think is so good, it makes you sound repetitive. But practice this. Practice varying it. And practice that. Now, the next thing, volume. You want to speak at a decent volume, right? You might want to speak a little bit louder than usual. And you want to allow yourself to increase that volume when you're making videos, and you want to project your voice, which is sending it forward. Imagine yourself launching your voice forward. So there is volume, right? You can change the volume of your voice, but we also can project it by sending it forward, shooting it forward. Imagine that, shooting your voice forward. Now, the next thing is articulation. Articulation is the crispness of your voice. You want to focus on this. You want to focus on making sure that your words come out very crisp, and you want to use you want to make sure that your words are all pronounced accurately. When you pronounce your words accurately, when you pronounce your words very crisply, and you focus on each sound, making sure that they don't run together and that you're not slurring your words, you can speak more clearly. You might notice I just increased my clarity of speech because I'm now aware of this. But yeah, you need to focus on your articulation too. Gesturing. If you're doing videos with your face, you want to ensure that there's gestures. And when you gesture, it signals to the subconscious mind and implements your points into their mind. That's why gesturing is so important. Now, they say you have a gesture box, which is like the area you want to gesture to make sure that people that your eyes don't get diverted from the point you're making. But I'd argue in content, you can be as extreme as you want to. If you're making a super extreme point, you can launch your arm out all the way. But in normal speech, apparently you're not supposed to do that. I don't really agree with the internet because of how extreme that things are and how hard you need to go to get attention. So, but only use that sparingly. But ensure that you use good gestures and stay in the gesture zone in general, which is like a box in front of you, blah, blah, blah. So, let's see here. Vernacular. So the word choices made by a speaker. So what you want to do to increase your vocabulary is you want to read more books. You want to listen to speakers who have a very good vocabulary with a lot of words. Now, some speakers will mess up the way that they say words. You want to ensure that you're checking the pronunciation of new words on the dictionary, on your phone. But you can listen to speakers who use a good word choice, and you can also read books. Reading books is going to expand your word choice so much, especially if you're reading like academic stuff. You're going to learn so many new words, and it might be hard at first, but you're also going to think clearer. You're going to speak clearer. Your thoughts are going to be much more clear when you read. And when you do this, you're going to gain such a wide vocabulary. Now, you want to have this in your mind so that you can speak in more, you can think in more variable ways. You can think about things in the way you couldn't before because you didn't know those words. But you don't want to necessarily use all these words depending on the audience. If you're making videos, for most people, they aren't going to know all these fancy words. So what we have to do is think like a genius, speak like a third grader. And that's a very, very extreme way to say it, but that is how you want to do it. There's a video by Myron Golden titled that. And it's very true. You need to think like a genius, read books and get that thinking down, but then speak like a third grader in a sense. Speak so simply. You need to synthesize your words into a more simple way of speaking, into a more simple vocabulary where people can actually understand. And if you use a new word, that's good. You can teach them the word. You need to define the word if you use a fancy word. Now, when you put all this together, and I know this video has been strewn out, you might want to take notes. You might want to go back. But when you put all this together, you can truly improve your speech. We talked about watching good speakers. We talked about watching yourself like a professional athlete and treating your speech as such. We talked about reading books, expanding your vocabulary. We talked about the different the way that you need to breathe to ensure that you can have a full voice and some presence. And we had a lot of different things. Now, when you put all this together, you can start to become an engaging speaker, and you can have what it takes to compete on social media, where people are so bombastic, where people are so wild. Well, improve your speech, find out what they do, and take over. If you want to learn more, and you want to learn how to build a personal brand, I'd recommend that you go ahead and watch this video if that's what you want to do. See you in the next one.